Republicans in Congress and in the media are using the shortage of baby formula in order to attack both immigrants and President Joe Biden. Now, the shortage, which has been caused by a certain company, Abbott Laboratories, shutting down their manufacturing plant in Sturgis, Michigan, over some contaminated formula, is nonetheless being blamed on Democrats and the president. Now, let me remind you that contamination has led to the death of 2 infants. And so this is, I mean, it's quite terrible what has been happening. So again, you had the shortage, and the Republican response to this shortage has been absolutely ghoulish. In fact, let me give you some examples here. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene said at a news conference, quote, "The Biden administration has been sending pallets of baby formula for illegal mothers and their babies, while American mothers and babies cannot find baby formula. This is completely unacceptable, and it needs to end now. Baby formula should go to Americans before illegals," said Representative Troy Nehls of Texas. "This should not have to be said." Texas Governor Greg Abbott also accused the administration of giving critical supplies to illegal immigrants before the very people he took an oath to serve. Greene also referenced photos of baby formula at a border facility, referring to a Washington Examiner article about immigrants detained at the border receiving baby formula amid the nationwide shortage. Nehls also tweeted to that a link to that article. The Examiner refers to the immigrants as a lucky group and cites posts by Representative Kat Cammack of Florida about thousands of containers of baby formula being sent to the border. Cammack then called on people to demand the Biden administration take the baby formula that they said they have basically siphoned out of the supply chain and put it back in the damn stores for American kids, essentially ripping the baby formula out of the hands of the migrants and putting it back into the stores. So that's, yeah. So now, that's just written statements. Now I've got video here. This is a little bit of a supercut that I put together of the response here from some of the different cable news pundits on Fox, talking about taking that, taking the formula back for Americans.
Why are we feeding illegal babies ahead of American babies? Why can illegals get baby formula from border agents, but we can't get it at Walgreens? Does any of this make sense?
Once they get here, the Biden administration will give them food supplies that you can't buy. And those would include baby formula.
But it points to what a total dumpster fire the Biden administration truly is. Look, the Biden administration is responsible for this formula shortage.
And you show empty shelves where baby formula is supposed to be, and they're all empty. So so we don't have any, but illegal immigrants are getting a top priority.
Illegals pouring across and being flown all across America, crowding our schools, spreading illness and disease, working for under-market pay. Democrats just don't care.
So American families, there's a shortage, but if you're a migrant, don't worry because Uncle Sam has a stash of that.
All right, so look, they're almost giddy about this. Like, why are we giving it to the illegals? Why are we giving this formula to the illegals? We should give it to the Americans. We should give it to American babies. Now, here's the thing. This is your pro-life party, right? It's the same party that is now demanding that women be stripped of their rights to have an abortion before fetal viability. The same party that is against certain forms of birth control, IUD, as well as Plan B, and also the same party who is against government regulation that might have actually prevented something like this from happening in the first place. That company, along with controls about 80% of the market. That one company alone, Abbott, controls 43% of the market, almost half. They produce the top brands. Now, I think that they should be broken up. Something this important should not be controlled by so few manufacturers. But that's not the big reason that there's a shortage. No, the big reason, of course, is corporate greed. A whistleblower who worked at the Sturgis, Michigan site that was shut down by the FDA over the contamination actually sent a detailed complaint to the FDA months ago, before this even started. In 2020, the complaint says management had become aware of potential bacterial contamination of this formula. Subsequent FDA testing found Chronobacter bacteria on equipment in the plant, and inspection reports obtained by CNN through a U.S. Freedom of Information Act request revealed numerous deficiencies at the facility. In a preliminary assessment, the FDA determined that Abbott did not take steps to prevent products from becoming contaminated during the manufacturing. And it was specifically, of course, the machines used in the drying process. So, you know why they didn't fix these machines? Because they decided to use the money to buy back their own stock. Yep. Over $5 billion in stock buybacks. And that, of course, they do that to increase shareholder profits. And this is at a time that executives knew that they were shipping out possibly contaminated formula. Formula, of course, they didn't even test. They didn't test it to ensure that they were not contaminated. And by the way, that whistleblower also claims that he saw reports that were falsified in many occasions in order to trick FDA inspectors. So, come on. None of this has anything to do with the Biden administration itself. Joe Biden didn't do that. No, this is corporate corruption. It's corporate greed. Immigrants didn't do this. To use this situation to attack immigrants is disgusting. Just disgusting. To say that, oh, no, we need to put American babies first and screw the immigrant babies, let them starve, that's gross. I don't think any baby should have to starve in this country. We shouldn't. Look, if they diverted the pallets of formula, like the Republicans were asking for, back to the stores, taking them out of those detention facilities, right, and putting them back in the stores, you know what would happen to migrants in custody? It's not like they can go and leave and go and find some supplies somewhere else, go to the store. No, they're literally locked in there. They have to have those supplies there, or else they don't have food. And some of the babies will die. They will starve. When it comes to some of these right-wingers, though, they only seem to believe that American babies, read white babies, are worthy of food. I think all babies are worthy of food. I think there are ways to help alleviate that shortage. Right now, the FDA is relaxing some of the import rules for baby formula from the EU. What's funny about that, too, is that because of the near monopoly status that they have, I mean, when you control nearly half of the markets as one company, that's a pretty near monopoly, right? And, you can collude with other suppliers in order to keep baby formula very, very expensive. They have so much control over the system because of money and politics, because of greed, because of corruption, that they were able to lobby about labeling. So the big problem, the reason that we don't do a lot of imports of European baby formula, which, by the way, is actually held to a higher standard than in the United States, is because, we got problems with their labels. Is that it? Problems with their labeling. But again, in the UK, they actually have higher quality, more stringent standards for what actually goes into the baby formula. But it's not about that. It's kind of the same trick that they use to say, we can't import prescription drugs from Canada. Even though their standards are higher, we're not allowed to do that. Because we think the standards are lower, or at least we're telling you the standards are lower, in which they're not. They're actually better than here in the United States. So, again, total corporate greed. Total corporate greed. Now, again, the importation, also making sure to go in and have that plant fix their mistakes and to have them regulated. But the point is, that's not going to be fixed by focusing on immigration. It's not going to be fixed by ripping formula out of the mouths of immigrant children, immigrant babies. Okay? And the fact that they're focusing so much on immigration and not the corporate greed and the lack of accountability by these companies for actually killing children. Again, 2 infants died as a result of this contamination, but they don't give a damn about that. No, they want to use this to attack brown infants, brown children, disgusting group of people. Just disgusting.